It's Ken, all right?
Yep.
Crappy day. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Liquor Control Commission meeting for Monday, August 20th, 2018. Please rise for the presentation of the colors.
Post. Post. Present arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Left facing. Forward march.
Thank you, gentlemen. Please be seated. Clerk Simpson, roll call.
Commissioner Vito?
Here.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Commissioner Papantos?
Present.
Commissioner Kruger?
Present.
Commissioner Lang and Commissioner Brady informed the board they would not be here today, and Chairperson Horker.
Here. Need a motion to approve the minutes of the August 6th meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion, Trustee Papantos. Second, Trustee Kruger. Roll call.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes. Citizens' concerns and comments. Clerk
There are
Simpson?
none.
Oh, okay. Item 6A.
7A, consideration of a request for a Class L liquor license from Osteria Wheeling LLC, DBA Saranello's, for an event to be held at 910 McHenry Road on August 23rd and 24th, 2018.
Mr. Spondilis.
Thank you. This is the second year of an event hosted by Saranello's, part of the Let Us Entertain You group, where they are doing an on-site farm-to-table event at the location indicated, 910 McHenry Road. This is a liquor license off of the Saranello's license, specific for those 2 days, August 23rd and 24th. And I am happy to answer any questions if the commission has them.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Kruger. Second, Trustee Vogel. Clerk Simpson, roll call.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang? Oh, he's not here. I'm sorry. Chairperson Horker.
I have to abstain. It's on the family property. Did
Okay, there's 4 votes. Okay.
you make it?
Okay.
Item B.
Consideration of request for a Class CV liquor license from JPT 2017 Incorporated, DBA Karma Pub.
Mr. Spondilis.
Thank you. As the title indicates, this is a request for a tavern license with video gaming in the Riverside Plaza Shopping Center. Thank you. I believe the petitioner is here and can answer any specific questions. I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conditions for approval should the commission wish to move forward.
Questions from the
Commission? Commissioner Papantos?
Thank you. I need
Is
to-
the petitioner? Yes. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes.
Oh, could you just introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah, my last name Desai, first name Sailesh. My daughter is here.
Hi, I'm Sweeta Desai.
Hello.
Thank you. Mr. Desai, your floor plan was basically a sketch. What are you really planning to do there?
I would like to open up the neighborhood bar in the town, and that's why I applied for the Class C license. I would like to have the entertainment in the weekend, like twice a month, band, karaoke. I would like to have the pool table, bring the pool tournament, jukebox, something new to the town. And the gaming is, addition to that. And I'm in the business for 15 years, in the bar business, and I managing and operate a few bars currently now. And I'm having the 7-Eleven store in Round Lake Beach also. And I used to manage a couple liquor store also.
What is the total square footage of this site?
This is going to be 1,800 square feet.
And in 1,800 square feet, what do you think, how many people are going to be there at any one time?
I have according to the zoning, I think I have sit down 15 people, but I have 40, 50 people total.
You mentioned in your material, though, that you were going to have sometimes a DJ, sometimes
Yes.
karaoke, and sometimes live band. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around 1,800 square feet and having a live band and how many people are going to be in that building.
I think I have occupancy. Go ahead.
Okay, so I would be the creative brains behind the project because he's good with the business aspect. I've actually run a ton of venues and nightclubs downtown, including in Vegas. So he's asked me to come help and kind of create and construct a creative theme to the place that we want to open up. As he's mentioned, we have several bars already, so this one is going to probably have a particular theme. I mean, depending on the space, like the band may or may not work. DJ for sure we would have. A karaoke, we just need a single mic and a few technical gadgets that could be easily feasible. What I would love to do, and if I could create it in the suburbs, which would be great, is actually looking at the space, and if we have room, Friday, Saturday nights, like a salsa night or something, because I have a strong dance background. I could also throw in some lessons and do something fun and interactive for the crowd, so it's not just like a pub where you go and you drink and you look at a screen. It's something more friendly, family, or not family, but more friendly for the neighborhood bar, kind of like old school Cheers. Like everyone comes in, congregates, they have a great time. There's things to do besides just drink.
And I appreciate that, but in 1,800 square feet with a pool table, you don't have a whole lot of room for that kind of dancing or anything else, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
In a bar
Well,
and stools.
the pool table, the band accessories that are not permanent fixtures, so we can bring them in on a night. Then there wouldn't be a dance. It would just be like a live band concert kind of a theme. So it's a very open palette is what I like, because we can see what works, and if people are more adaptive to the band and they want that, we can just keep the band there. If they like the interactive, versions of dancing and versus just sitting there, then we can have that in there too.
Thank you. Chief McIsaac, at the, and I'm sorry to ask you this off the top of my head, but during the Plan Commission, it was mentioned that there's only one ingress, egress. Is the fire department happy with something like that?
The building code allows for an occupancy up to a total of 50 individuals with a single entrance in a sprinklered building. And so they would be capped at a total of 50 people at any one time, and that would include staff.
And are you understanding of that?
We can lower the capacity if we need to.
You can what?
We can decrease the capacity of people in there if we need to.
Well, you would have to decrease it. It's not a.
Right.
Good, it's.
Yeah.
It's 50 is it, and that.
It would be mostly standing room only. So we would have the bar tables, and then we can have a few standing tables and high tops, and then that way we can make more floor space if we need to. Or do we have room for expansion, or just that building?
No, that's 1,500 square feet.
Yeah.
For your other establishments that you own, do you have gaming in those?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And how was your business before gaming and after gaming?
My revenue normally from gaming is 40% and 60% basically from alcohol and the food, as in my other business.
So at the Round Lake Beach one?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Or commission, sorry. There's no kitchen in here, though.
It would be cold snacks, dry foods.
Sorry?
We would have prepackaged cold snacks, dry foods.
If there are no other questions from the commission, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Vito, second.
Second.
Commissioner Papantos.
Can you read the conditions?
Mr. Spondilis, please read the conditions.
There are 5 conditions attached to the motion, if you would. First, submission of a certificate of insurance indicating liquor liability insurance for the establishment that names the Village of Wheeling as an additional insured party. Number 2, submission of a current lease to the premises. Number 3, payment of all associated fees. Number 4, passage of legislation by the Board of Trustees granting applicable special use approval. And number 5, passage of an ordinance by the Board of Trustees authorizing the creation of a new Class CV liquor license.
You understand the conditions?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, Clerk Simpson?
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
No.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
No.
Chairperson Harker?
Yes. It's a tie.
It's a tie.
That does pass because it's not like going into the next meeting, we have ordinances and resolutions. For the next meeting, it takes a majority of the corporate authorities to pass ordinances and resolutions, spending money or creating liabilities. This particular vote is not one of those. So this just takes a simple majority of the quorum here today. So three votes does pass this. It is subject to the special use being approved at the village board meeting, which will take 4 votes. So just keep that in mind. But this does grant the liquor license for now with the conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our regularly scheduled business for the Liquor Control Commission for this evening. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Vogel, second, Trustee Commissioner Kruger. Roll. All in favor?
Aye.
Liquor Commission adjourned. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting for August 20th, 2018. Clerk Simpson, roll call.
Just a second.
Okay.
All right. Trustee Vito?
Here.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Papantos?
Present.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Grady and Trustee Lang informed the board that they would not be here this evening.
I'm here.
I'm sorry. Oh, President Harker.
I'm here. Good to go. No problem.
Okay.
You have before you the regular the minutes of the regular meeting for July 16th, 2018. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
That would be Trustee Papantos, second from Trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Vogel? Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
President Harker?
Yes, you also have before you the meetings for the joint workshop meeting of August 6, 2018. I also need a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Kruger, second.
Second.
Trustee Vogel, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
President Harker?
Yes. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes.
Thank you. Item 6.
Rock and Run Runway Sponsor Awards.
Mr. Spondilis.
Thank you. This year we celebrated the 6th edition of our annual Rock and Run the Runway. It was quite a success. It was a little bit challenging because of the heat, so we were a little low on participants who didn't want to come out and melt, but nevertheless, it was a wonderful evening that could not have happened but for the kind donations of our business community, many of whom have been repeat donors. We try to make this event as cost neutral as possible, and that only happens because we are able to solicit sponsorships from business communities from the Village of Wheeling and the City of Prospect Heights. I'm going to read those that provided sponsorship. If you are in the audience, could you please come up? President Horker has a small token of appreciation for you. Miscellaneous participants, Great Chicago Kitty Express Train, Spears Chicago, and the Wheeling Prospect Heights Chamber of Commerce. Contributors, Builders Asphalt, Kleinthorpe and Jenkins, Richelieu Foods, Waste Management, and the Wheeling Park District. And yes, Jim, there's a certificate for you up there too. Sponsors, Ozinga, Skokie Valley Beverage, and the Wheeling Town Center. And partners, Inland Bank and Trust, and Wheel In Body and Motor Works. As I said, many of our contributors are repeat donors. Wheel In, for example, at the partnership level is the 6th year that they have participated at the highest level of contribution. Inland Bank and Trust, this is their first year. And am I going too fast? I'm sorry, I'm just talking.
They're all stuck together here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, have to make a challenge, you know. Inland Bank and Trust, soon to be a business at the Wheeling Town Center project. Wheeling Town Center itself, 4th year as a sponsor. Kleinthorpe at Jenkins, 6th year as a sponsor, and Builders Asphalt, 2nd year as a sponsor. Again, thank you all very much. We really couldn't make this happen without you, and we look forward to seeing you next year participating to the same level, which is a helpless plug for continued support. Thank you.
Not an auction. It's not like a farm auction. You can slow it down just.
All right, sorry.
Administration of oaths. Clerk Simpson.
Tonight's a big night for the Village of Wheeling and the Wheeling Police Department. Thank you for joining us. We have with us several retired members of the police department. We have Sergeant Vic Chirio, now working at Arlington Heights. We have Officer Rich Hurtis, now plying his trade up in the village of Gurney, and Sergeant Joe Schaff, who I think is just enjoying retirement right now. I'd like to welcome the members of the Citizens Patrol and representing our Fire and Police Commissioner, Al Kopecky. So thank you for joining us tonight. And for the community and for the family members, thank you for being here tonight. We're going to promote 2 individuals and swear in a new officer. And we'll go in order of rank. With that.
Joseph Kopecky.
I, Joseph Kopecky,
Having been appointed to the position of commander
having been appointed to the position of commander
in the police department of the Village of Wheeling
Police Department in the Village of Wheeling
and the counties of Cook and Lake,
and the counties of Cook and Lake,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of commander
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Joe is a 21-year veteran of the police department and has served in the following capacities. He's been a field training officer, special operations unit as a tactical officer, assigned as a power car. He was an original member of our honor guard. He's been a detective, a corporal. He currently serves on our police pension board, and he's been a patrol sergeant in both patrol and investigations. He will be assigned as the investigation division commander. And who would you like to pin your badge on you tonight?
My dad.
And then would you like to introduce your guests here tonight?
Sure. My wife Wendy is here, my daughter Grace, my son Luke, mom, dad, my sister and her family are here.
My dad's retired from Illinois State Police. He was with them for 23 years.
This will be the smoothest thing on the head yet. And next, we'd like Sergeant John Abbio to step up. Soon to be Sergeant John Abbio.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, John Abbio,
I, John Abbio,
having been appointed to the position of sergeant
having been appointed to the position of sergeant
in the police department of the village of Wheeling,
in the police department in the village of Wheeling,
counties of Cook and Lake,
in the counties of Cook and Lake,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of
and that I
Illinois,
will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of sergeant
of sergeant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
John is a 17-year veteran of the police department, and he served as a DARE officer, community response team, bicycle patrol officer, field training officer, class supervisor at the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy, tactical officer, crime prevention officer, detective, and corporal. Eventually, John will be assigned initially to the afternoon shift, and then he'll be joining the younger generation along the back wall on the midnight shift. Would you like to introduce your guest?
My mom and dad, Margarita and Julian, my wife Pamela, and my children, Mateo and Marisa.
Next, I'd ask our new officer, Conor Hanley, to please step up. Conor is being sworn in tonight, and soon he'll be going to the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy, where 14 weeks of training now is the academy. He'll be joined there, Joe, are you here? Officer Joe Dawson will be going to the academy as his recruit supervisor, so we'll have eyes on you at all times. Conor's mom like to come forward to pin his badge on him, please. Conor will be joining a great police department. We talk to the officers when we have retirement events. It's our job to train you, prepare you for the day, and so that one day you too can retire and return you safely to the family. But for the next 20, 30 years, you'll be serving the residents of Wheeling. You enjoy the support of the elected officials and the residents of the community. You're lucky to be joining this police department. Welcome. Thank you again for joining us, and I'd like to thank our honor guard and all our officers for taking time to celebrate with your coworkers. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all of you for your commitment to the village. You do a fine job, and we rely on you and we depend on you. Thank you so much. I would like a motion to recess for refreshments to recognize the officers that were just sworn.
So moved.
Who was that?
So moved. Second.
Motion, Trustee Kruger. Second, Trustee Papantos. We will take...
All in favor?
I'd like to say how long.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
We'll go 15 minutes. It'll be 10 after 7. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. recess.
10, 7:10. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the regular meeting for the 20th. I'd like a motion to reconvene into the regular session.
So moved.
Motion, trustee Vogel. Second, trustee Papantos. Roll call.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
President Horger?
Yes.
Okay.
Citizens' comments and concerns. Clerk Simpson.
Members of the public may address the board with comments regarding only those items that are relevant to village business. No citizen shall speak for more than 5 minutes without consent of the board. Members of the general public who wish to address the board must sign the request to speak form prior to the commencement of the public meeting.
Just as a reminder to the citizens, this is a time for the citizenry to make comments and express their concerns about village business. This is not a time for dialogue and debate. Clerk Simpson.
Tiva Jordan? Is it Tina? Tina.
Hi, so last week you guys had the meeting about the approval for the business that was going to be going on my property that's under contract. And I couldn't stay for the whole meeting, but what I saw of it, I wasn't quite sure that, you know, we got held up for a year. Our property's been off the market for a year. It's not just that this business didn't get put up, which I don't think they got a very fair hearing. I don't even think they got to present their business properly to you guys. So, you know, there's more at stake here than just this business going in place. People have plans with their lives, and for the year, that's what we were doing, planning our lives. You guys told them they had a chance, and they went up and did everything that they were told to do. So, you know, I think if there were issues with the zoning, issue with zoning along I-3, you know, I sent out emails to everybody here, and I didn't get one response, not one back from anybody. I'm just not sure, you know, if they really got a fair hearing, and I think that it would only be fair that, and I know you guys don't want to approve it, and I just don't think they got a fair hearing. I don't think they got to present it properly. I don't think they got a fair shot at it. There's other businesses that are I-3 on Wolf Road, and they're allowed to have the I-1 in front with their landscaping and retaining ponds. I don't know why this wasn't an option for this business. So, you know, I know everybody had their own reasoning behind it and a traffic, but any business is going to have a lot of traffic. And I think that it would only be fair that you guys, somebody up here, should recall this for a vote, or recall that so that they can properly present their business to you, so you guys maybe can give it another thought. I know a lot of people have been checking it out and thinking about all the different information that's been sent and spoken about to everybody, but I think it would only be fair that they get a shot at this. So that's what I have to say.
Mr. Latsky?
My name's Kurt Latsky. I live at 1030 Carroll Avenue, and this is concerning the zoning over there. I've lived there all my life. I've watched the village take out my neighbors in the front. I've watched them build industrial all around me. All around me, from Hintz Road to Wheeling Road to Palatine Road to Wolf Road. And now we got this two little neighborhoods that are left there by themselves, and someone wants to put a nice building in there and make it good for me, because I'm ready to retire and move on. There's only two people that it's concerning in the whole thing. I've talked to more than one person on the boards here about this, and their comprehensive plan, your comprehensive plan was to make it all industrial. So I never complained one time when you were building Chaddock Avenue, Bonton, all the stuff down Wolf Road, all around me is nothing but, and now it's just us 20 little houses there that we'll never be able to sell residentially there because we're surrounded by industrial. It needs to be changed, it needs to be done because it's time. And I know there's other people living there and they have issues, but eventually they're going to get the same thing we got. It's only involving me and Tina Jorn right now, and the property in front of us is owned by the village or the airport or whoever it's owned by. What are they going to do with it? It needs to be brought back up, and it needs to be changed. It's time. It's going nowhere if this doesn't go through. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Wilson?
Pat, right before the election, I told you about the quick claim deed on your predecessor's home. And I asked you, I don't know how you could pay that thing off when the guy's so far in debt. And you gave me something from your phone, didn't you? Do you remember what you gave me?
No.
Yeah, you gave me a screenshot of a contact to an IRS agent that audited James right at the time of his wife's death. And you said how sad that was. And you told me you should report him to the IRS. Pat Horker, you want me to do the same to you? Is that what you would like, what you would invite me to do to your predecessor? Should I do that? Because I'll tell you right now, you're not paying county taxes for your commercial truck parking lot on your property. There's a form you're supposed to fill out in 2013. The municipal code changed for Cook County. All commercial truck parking lots are supposed to submit a manifesto monthly listing every vehicle parked in their lot. You're supposed to pay a fee for every vehicle parked in your lot. I have sat there on 3 different occasions while you laid out the fee structure to truckers coming in to the farm to ask permission to park and what your fee structure was, and you've never filed that. I'm not a watchdog for the feds, I'm a watchdog for Wheeling. So I did not take you up on your offer to report your predecessor to the IRS. But you got a lot of chutzpah asking that of me when you aren't paying your taxes for your commercial truck parking lot on your own property. You also told me in fall of 2016 that your predecessor was all over you because he thought you expanded your property, saying that you were not allowed to expand your property because you were annexed in. And you said you were able to prove to him that you did not expand, you did not build any new buildings because the signs that he thought were new were just merely painted. You told me that you used Google Earth to prove to him that the signs were always there, but that what he was looking at was just freshly painted signs. I sent you and all the trustees an email containing aerial shots of your property in 2016 and again in 2017, and there's a new building there in 2017, a new rooftop. That's not paint I'm looking at there, there's a new structure there, which I could really give a rip about, except you're putting a Latino business owner out of business. You sat there and you presided over that May 2017 meeting. I don't think it's funny, Pat, I don't know what you're smiling at, putting an honest, hardworking man out of business for violations of code that you yourself are violating. You have no business sitting up there presiding over and putting another man out. You know what I'll tell you it is, though? I'll tell you something. You got the tale of 2 landscapers. The Latino one, who follows the rules and asks for permits before he built his buildings, and the white one, who doesn't ask anybody, doesn't do a permit, does whatever he wants. You have no business presiding over the judgment of another man's business, putting him out for violations. He asked permission to build new buildings, and you put him out. And I came here on the May 15th meeting, right after you got sworn in, telling you not to pursue this appeal. And you sat and you presided over in closed session, oh yeah, we're gonna go with the appeal. That didn't happen without your consent and approval, village president. You got a lot of chutzpah. It's a racist act. It's immoral, it's wrong. Joe Vito, at the last meeting, you talked about Tina Jorn. You talked about her property having all those trucks there. It was some kind of camouflage for her. You were very aware of all the trucks she had in her property. Are you looking at his property equally well for the commercial truck parking lot he's operating out of his business, and are you gonna hold him accountable?
No, I'm not looking at either.
How did you know she had all those trucks out there?
That was the entirety of my purpose. I don't want to enforce either code against either of them or A.B. Sanchez.
Nice job. That's exactly what I asked.
That's okay. Well, whatever. I'm
No,
not
he
saying I get
shouldn't.
to rate it.
If you're going to enforce it to one, you should enforce it to all equally.
Thank you.
And I got a tale of two pavers. One that's the brother of the village president, and one that's Latino, who just got a $1,200 bill from Andrew Jennings for daily fine violations because he's continuing his business past the date he was supposed to.
Okay.
I asked for business licenses of all the businesses operating out of your property, and I got nothing for Joe's paving, your brother's business. But when I asked for all the permits, I beg your pardon?
Whose business?
Joe's paving and cement and paving, your brother?
My brother. Okay. Thank you.
There's no, Ferrolo's argument why we had to put Sanchez out is he couldn't prove he was a legally operating business at the time of annexation. I've got the other three that are legally operating out of your business, and I've got all from 2003 when they applied for their business licenses. Oh, when they were annexed in, they were a legally operating business. I don't have that for Joe's cement and paving. Are you going to move, is this board going to move to put him out of business the same way you did Sanchez? Or is it white privilege run amok?
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
You need to treat everybody equally under the law.
Find a seat, Ms. Wilson. Relative to white privilege and my being racist, I have two children. Their godmother's name is Yesenia Reyes. She is not blonde. I'll address some of those other things at official comments. Staff reports, Chief McIsaacs.
Thank you very much. Just a heads up to our residents that next Monday, the 27th, the police department, the fire department, and the Metro Safety Department will be out at the train station for the morning rush hour, taking the opportunity to meet with the riders here in Wheeling and to share and educate them on the safety of dealing with trains. As some of you know, unfortunately, every year in the Metro system, more than a dozen pedestrians are killed by train accidents, either by being accidentally shoved, pushed, or tripped in front of trains, or trying to beat the crossing gates, or running to the stations across the tracks. The purpose of the safety blitz is to educate people to the risks and dangers that are there, and to show them that this is a joint effort on public safety to prevent these types of accidents from happening here in Wheeling.
Thank you, Chief. Clerk Simpson, consent agenda.
Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A, resolution waiving competitive bid and authorizing the village manager to approve an agreement with Melrose Pyrotechnics Incorporated for a public fireworks display on June 29th, 2019 at a price not to exceed $30,000. Item 11B, resolution waiving the fidelity and surety bond requirements for Adulterota Villa to conduct a raffle. 11C, resolution renewing and authorizing the village president and clerk to execute a third amendment to the food service contract with Hoffman House Catering for the Village of Wheeling Senior Center Congregate Dining Program. 11D, resolution waiving competitive bids and authorizing the purchase of property components for the combined area fire training burn building from fire facilities, steel fire training towers at a cost not to exceed $74,073. 11E, resolution accepting a competitive bid and authorizing repairs, renovation of the combined area fire training cap burn building by William Tanyan and Sons Incorporated at a cost not to exceed $116,000. 11F, resolution authorizing change order number 3 and final to the contract with Trine Construction Corporation for the 2017 water main replacement and roadway improvement program in the amount of $25,867.66. Item G, resolution authorizing the village manager to approve a contract for electrical and mechanical inspection services with B&F Construction Code Services in an amount not to exceed $40,000 per year.
Any concerns? If there are no concerns, I would look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Vogel, second Trustee Papantos? Roll call?
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Old business. Is there any old business? Nope. There's no old business. New business. Clerk Simpson.
13A, ordinance repealing ordinance number 4102 and granting special use site plan approval for a sit-down restaurant at 321 Dundee Road, Lana's Dazzling Desserts, docket number 2018-18.
Mr. Jennings. Hi.
Thank you. For your consideration tonight is a ordinance repealing the existing special use ordinance for Lana's Dazzling Desserts and approving a new special use ordinance to incorporate an additional expansion area. The restaurant, which operates as a commercial bakery with limited seating, is planning to expand to the unit next door to the east in the Riverside Plaza Shopping Center. The Plan Commission has reviewed this and recommended approval, subject to a couple of conditions. Those conditions of approval are, number one, prior to occupancy, a rack for 2 bicycles should be added to the site. And number 2, prior to occupancy, the mansard roof facade should be repaired as needed. And there's a representative of the business here this evening, if you have any additional questions.
Questions from the board? Trustee Papantos.
Just a few quick questions. Andrew, we don't seem to be consistent as to when we require smoking areas and when we don't. Why aren't we requiring this business to have a designated smoking area, but every other business does seem to get that requirement?
Well, all the businesses are subject to the same regulation with respect to the Illinois Clean Air. The businesses that the Plan Commission and the staff typically recommend a special provision for are going to tend to be evening uses, bars, restaurants open late at night. So it tends to come up during those reviews, but they're all subject to the same regulation in terms of smoking in proximity to the doors and openings in the building.
I just would like to see the same conditions for everybody. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion, Trustee Vogel, second.
Second.
Trustee Krueger, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item B.
Item B.
Ordinance granting special use site plan approval for Tavern, 79 South Milwaukee Avenue, Karma Pub, docket number 2018-19.
Mr. Jennings.
Thank you. This is a special use ordinance that is a pair with the liquor license discussion that was held during the Liquor Control Commission meeting earlier this evening. The petitioner is requesting special use approval for a tavern which is to be located at 79 South Milwaukee Avenue, also within Riverside Plaza Shopping Center. The floor plan includes seating for 11 at the bar, 4 at a table, and 5 within gaming terminals for a total of 20 seats. As the petitioner mentioned during the Liquor Control Commission meeting, there would be additional standing area for patrons. Petitioner has agreed to have a maximum of 18 seats in order to comply with the parking requirement, and therefore parking variation would not be necessary in conjunction with the use. The project description does indicate, as the petitioner stated previously, opportunities for entertainment. The requested hours of operation are Sunday through Thursday, 11 to 1, Friday to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. There are no exterior changes proposed for the building. The petitioner is here. Before I hand it over to them to answer questions, I just want to briefly review the recommendation of the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission did not recommend approval of this particular item. The vote was 6-1. The ordinance that you have in front of you does have conditions of approval should the board wish to approve. The conditions of approval are, number 1, prior to occupancy, a rack for 2 bicycles shall be added to the site. Number 2, prior to occupancy, an outdoor smoking area shall be designated. Number 3, based upon the proposal for only 1 employee during a peak shift, there should be no more than 18 seats. Number 4, special use approval shall be subject to liquor license approval. Number 5, entertainment may include DJs, karaoke, and live music, not to exceed twice a month. And number 6, additional soundproofing shall be installed to common walls prior to occupancy.
Questions from the board? Trustee Vito.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw it out there that it may be prudent to table this, given the way that the vote went for the license. If it stays that way, even though there's a majority of the members here that'll be in favor for it, it'll still fail. So
you would make a motion to?
I'd make a motion to table it, or at least discuss the idea of tabling it, because this will be the shortest lived liquor license in Wheeling history if we take a vote and we all stay the same way.
Discussion on tabling.
It's really non-debatable. It's a
Yes, I know.
motion and a second, correct?
Do we have a second to table the issue?
Wait, this is 11C?
B.
11D, okay. To table?
Yeah, there's a motion to table, but we need a second.
Second.
Okay.
Second from Trustee Papantos.
Trustee
Roll call on to table the issue.
Okay. Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
No.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
No.
President Horker?
Yes.
Passes.
The issue will be tabled until, do we need a date specific?
No, that would be out of order. It goes to the table generally,
Okay.
and you can talk to the manager about when we might put it on an agenda
Okay.
as old business.
So can you explain what that means to the petitioner, please?
Certainly, this item has been put in a holding pattern, basically, and it may be brought up at the next meeting for a final vote, which is September 10th. We'd have to let you know if it's going to be on that agenda. So I would suggest you contact probably Mr. Jennings to find out when this will come up for a final vote.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Sure.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item C.
Item C. Ordinance granting special use site plan approval for a child daycare facility at 343 West Dundee Road, which is Building E of the Wheeling Town Center Subdivision, the Learning Experience, docket number 2018-20.
Mr. Jennings, what do we have?
Thank you. The petition in front of you for consideration is a special use with associated site plan approval for Building E at the Wheeling Town Center. The building had been originally conceived during the PUD discussion as a multi-tenant retail building. The developer for the town center has found a tenant for this particular building. Tenant desires to take the entire space. Is a single standalone daycare facility by the zoning code that does require special use review and approval. Due to the configuration of this portion of the site, the special use review also includes minor modification of the drop-off area to facilitate the unique needs of this particular use. The Plan Commission reviewed the facility, which would be a 10,000 square foot building with a 5,000 square foot outdoor play space. Again, as noted, this is a slight reduction in the square footage of Building E from the original PUD approval. The facility would operate from 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Is estimated to have 24 employees, and the parking and traffic study that was submitted in support of the petition notes that it has a maximum capacity of 185 children. The services for the facility would be provided for children ranging in age from 6 weeks to 5 years, with after-school care for children up to age 8. Just as a note before I get into the conditions of approval, I read through the findings of fact from the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission did recommend approval. There was some concern over the configuration of drop-off and pickup activity. I've recommended, as part of the draft ordinance that's in front of you, I've recommended an additional condition of approval beyond what the Plan Commission suggested, just in anticipation of any sort of potential conflicts between the afternoon pickup activity and the adjacent restaurants. If you look at the site plan, this particular parking area is not terribly visible from the rest of the town center access drives. So you have to enter this back parking area to see what kind of parking is available. So given that the pickup activity would involve parents having to park a car and walk up to the entrance, I had some concern, and the Plan Commission shared this concern as well, but did not recommend a condition of approval for it. I had some concern that the parents would enter that back area knowing that they have to get out of the car, have some trouble finding parking if the restaurants were already in operation 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. So in the event that we do see that sort of congestion in that back southeast parking area, I've recommended a condition of approval that would require some dedicated parking stalls to facilitate short-term parking so that the parents would have an opportunity to pick up their children without blocking the drive aisles. So with that, the conditions of approval as drafted with that additional condition are, number 1, bollards shall be added to the trash enclosure to prevent the gates from hitting vehicles. Number 2, EFIS should not be installed at ground level. The ash blend brick shall be applied to this area no less than 4 feet from grade. Number 3, the no left turn sign shall be replaced with one-way traffic signage. Appropriate pavement markings shall be installed. And number 4, property owner and facility operator shall dedicate parking stalls along the east side of the lot to accommodate afternoon pickup activity if the village determines that such stalls are needed to prevent congestion in the drive aisles near the subject building. With that, the representative of the Town Center Development Team is here to answer questions.
Trustee Papantos?
Good evening, Mr. Friedman.
You know, I can learn.
When we started the town center, we all talked about retail. Can you explain to everybody where this puts you as to the amount of non-retail generating space that's going on there?
Yeah, we've reached our capacity. We're just below that 15% threshold, so we would not be allowed to bring in any additional retail that was non-sales tax generating without having a penalty that would affect our TIF.
And are you willing to take a penalty like that?
Well, we're not in a situation where we have to make that decision.
For the next building.
The next building, I'm thinking, are going to be sales tax generating uses.
Because that's what we really want to see, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
On the parking for the daycare, and I realize that I don't think you're running the daycare, unless you're multi-talented. But one of my concerns is sometimes parents will go in and they'll say, okay, let's go over here to this restaurant or walk over here and then take up a pickup spot. Will the proprietors be watching that to make sure that it's a limited time for pickup, especially in the evening?
Well, this is kind of news to me, the request from Andrew Jennings to designate certain parking spots for the learning experience. I think if there is a challenge, if there is a problem after the town center opens, after the restaurants are operating, the learning experience is kind of in their groove, so to speak, with the drop-off and pickup, I would be amenable to reviewing that option based on the current parking study and traffic study that our engineer provided. There doesn't seem to be concern. I am in favor of the other changes with regards to the do not enter, the one-way, in order to accommodate the traffic flow. And if we do need to designate parking spaces, that's not a problem. I just don't know if it's necessary to do that at this point in time.
You are going to get a lot of people at the same time picking up. My kids were raised in daycare. I know how it works. It's a need and it's great. And according to their business plan, they're teaching sign language and, second language. It sounds great. I thought about enrolling just to, pick up. Gives me something to do during the day, but I was concerned about that. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Kruger?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Friedman, Trustee Papantos brought up the square footage, and I hope my question doesn't confuse the situation, but when Town Center came to us, it was 100,000 square foot of retail with the 15% non-retail element before TIF.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
Correct.
The square footage of the Starbucks of the footprint was reduced.
Mm-hmm.
The square footage clearly of Building E has been reduced from 12,400 to, 10,000, because I don't imagine you'd be using the playground as
we can't count
clearly non-retail.
We've done an updated spreadsheet based on all the footprints of the buildings with a new square footage number. I'm sorry, I don't have it off the top of my head. We're right around 95,000 square feet And we've gone through the numbers and the percentages with Andrew Jennings, and we have all agreed that we are right below that
So the
threshold.
15% is based on the new square footage with all of the reductions?
Correct, yeah.
You had the learning experience representative at the Plan Commission.
Yes.
Would she happen to be here today?
She is not, but I may be able to answer one of your questions.
I was really hoping to have an opportunity to hear her state how she feels, or how she could illustrate that she believes that this is going to be a successful element to Town Center.
That was one of the questions that she was not able to answer because she's on the operational side. But it was a question that I have a prepared answer for with regards to why the learning experience chose the Wheeling Town Center specifically. And it has to do with a number of things. First of all, Dundee Road, traffic counts, visibility, easy access, all three of those were check marks. They looked at the demographics, and they were very happy. They also liked the character of the town center overall from a macro standpoint, and the neighboring characteristics of the other properties, including the Park District. There's also something to be said for the central location, being surrounded by residential, retail, and office. Also giving, well, the learning experience has an opportunity to capture commuters who want to take advantage of that. And then in addition to that, I think they did a study based on their competitors. I think it's called Kitty Academy, who's one of their competitors, and they felt like they were far enough away from Kitty Academy where there wouldn't be any cannibalization.
Is that the one at Randhurst Village?
I just learned about Kitty Academy earlier today. I really don't know much about them. I'm sorry.
I just drove around back there recently and saw
I don't have any kitties anymore. My kids are all grown up. So.
Mine too.
But those were the answers that they gave. And sorry, one more is they like the synergy of the town center. They like being next to restaurants and giving parents the ability to kind of drop their kids off, grab a coffee, get breakfast, pick their kids up, get dinner. Not everyone who goes to the learning experience is just dropping their kids off in the morning and picking them up in the afternoon. There's daytime programs. So there is going to be some daytime traffic. And actually that's one of the things that we were trying to achieve is to increase the daytime traffic at the Wheeling Town Center because we don't have any, grocery stores. And we thought this was a really good use.
Thank you. That's all I had.
If there are no other questions or comments, I would be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Papantos, second trustee Kruger. Roll call.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Item D, Clerk Simpson.
Resolution authorizing the village president and clerk to execute a real estate contract and rider for the sale of 99 North Wolf Road in the village of Wheeling, Illinois.
Mr. Ferrolo, what are we selling?
Thank you, President Horker. Before you is a contract to sell village-owned property at 99 to 101 North Wolf Road. This is property that was acquired by the village right around 2004, and it served as a police substation for some time. Ultimately became the food pantry. I think you're all familiar with the property. The property listed recently in November 2017 for $324,000. The property is being sold for $285,000 as is. Closing is scheduled to take place within 60 days if the contract is approved. There will be normal inspections done by the buyer.
Questions from the board. Trustee Vogel.
What's this property zoned?
Andrew, is this a B2?
I believe it's in the MXC, in that
okay.
section of Wolf Road.
Okay, thank you.
And the end user has indicated that he would be placing an insurance business on the first floor and will reside in an apartment unit on the second floor. That's what we've been told.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Trustee Papantos?
Does our zoning permit someone to have the business on the first floor and residential on the second?
It does. There are limitations on how it can be done, but the MXC is, the use regulations are based on the B3, and the zoning regulations that have carried over into the MXC do allow that, subject to certain criteria.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I'd be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Vogel, second trustee Papantos. Roll call.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Item E, resolution authorizing the village president and village clerk to execute a real estate contract for the sale of 115 and 119 South Milwaukee Avenue, Wheeling, Illinois, compromising a part of the village Crossroads TIF district.
Mr. Ferrolo.
Thank you, President Horker. This real estate contract authorizes the sale of village-owned property at 115 and 119 South Milwaukee Avenue. This property was acquired some time ago in the Crossroads TIF district for purposes of assembling the property for redevelopment opportunities. This is basically the same contract that was brought to you back in June. We had entered into a contract with GW Property Group to sell the property for $400,000. The property itself was subject to a right of first refusal, which allowed the ownership of the Riverside Shopping Center to exercise the right to buy the property once we received a bona fide offer. The ownership of Riverside was notified of the contract with GW. They submitted a timely election to proceed with the acquisition of the property in accordance with the exact terms of the contract you approved in June. Those terms are a $400,000 purchase price, a 90-day inspection period, closing to take place within 30 days after the end of the inspection period, $25,000 in earnest money, and the property is being sold as is. If this sale is completed, the property will become a part of the Riverside Shopping Center and serve as a further lot for development in that center.
Trustee Papantos.
Do the proceeds from the sale go into the TIF fund, the Crossroads TIF, or do they go to the general fund?
Crossroads TIF.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No questions. I would be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion trustee Papantos.
Second.
Second trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
President Horker?
No problem. Yes.
F. Resolution accepting a contract with Lorig Construction Company for Wolf Court Diversionary Channel Crossing and Roadway in the amount of $1,707,546.
Mr. Tack, can you explain this, please?
Thank you. This project is located at the end of Wolf Court, immediately west of the Ram parking lot. The project will construct a 3-lane bridge over the diversionary channel to provide better access for future development of the 17-acre parcel. Along with the bridge structure improvements, sanitary sewer will be stubbed into the site. Sidewalk will be extended to meet the existing sidewalk on Wolf Court, as well as sidewalks on both sides of the bridge. Lighting will also be constructed for the bridge and the adjoining street improvements. This project was publicly bid with 4 bids received, with Lorig Construction Company being the lowest bidder at $1,707,546. Construction will begin in 2018 with an expected completion spring of 2019. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Questions from the board? Trustee Vito.
Again, I think this would be appropriate to table given the composition of the board versus our vote before, even though staff recommendations here for it. I think that, the way it went, it's going to be a 4-3 vote probably. And I think it'd be appropriate to table it again until we have a full board.
So that would be a motion to table?
Yes.
Do we have a second, please?
I'll second that.
Trustee Vogel is the second to table this issue. Date to be determined by staff?
By staff, right.
Need a vote on tabling this issue.
Okay. Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
No.
No. Trustee Krueger?
No.
President Horker?
Yes.
3-2. Okay,
Table.
table.
Thank you. Next up, H.
G.
G, sorry.
G is a resolution declaring a surplus in the South Milwaukee Manchester Drive Tax Increment Financing District Fund and authorizing the distribution of such to the Cook County Treasurer's Office.
Mr. Monshane.
Thank you, President Horker. Tonight, before you is a resolution that, if approved, would declare a surplus of $500,000 in the South Milwaukee TIF District. The $500,000 represents funds that are available in the South Milwaukee TIF Fund that are not currently allocated for any particular project or other purpose and are therefore available to be declared surplus. So the board has that option tonight. And I'd just like to clarify that this is not pursuant to any existing intergovernmental agreement that the village has with the other taxing districts. So this would be a voluntary declaration of surplus. The village's share of that would be $69,000. Some of that would go to the police and fire pension funds, and the rest would go to the general fund. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. To my left, to my right.
So moved.
Clear.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Krueger, second, Trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
H, discussion regarding TIF request from Cameo North Condominium Association, 200 Deborah Lane.
Mr. Malenifi.
Thank you, President Horker. The village received a TIF application from the Cameo North Condominium Association for their concrete balcony and patio restoration project. The TIF request has been made as a result of major structural issues related to balconies in the complex, and the precast concrete floors and balconies in the development were constructed in the 1960s with one concrete pour, which is now deteriorated and is structurally compromised. The balconies must be rebuilt in compliance with current building codes and standards, and the balcony railings do not meet current standards, and small children could fall through the wide openings in the railings. There's also deterioration underneath the concrete balconies. Steel rebar needs to be installed in the concrete floors and balconies to provide greater structural integrity. The applicant provided the village with specifications for the project from Structural Technologies Incorporated, along with 4 proposals. The proposals range in cost from $267,864 to $700,650. I actually toured the building with the applicant inside and out to more thoroughly evaluate this TIF request. Village staff recommends that the village board denies the TIF application for the Cameo North Condominium Association. This project is located in the Crossroads TIF district, which expires in December 2019. The project will not generate any new property tax increment in the Crossroads TIF district as a result of the repairs. In 2016, Economic Development staff recommended the village provide TIF assistance for another project called Arbor Court Apartment Complex for renovations and improvement due to the property's blighted conditions and the extensive frontage along Dundee Road. Improvement of the property enhanced the aesthetic appearance features along the Dundee Road corridor, and Economic Development staff does not recommend approval of the TIF request since this property will not generate any new tax increment or improve the aesthetic appearance in the Crossroads TIF district. We believe that the village should not utilize TIF assistance to fund regular maintenance of the property, and that the condominium association should utilize special assessments to pay for these structural repairs. The applicant is here this evening. Should the board have any questions?
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Questions from the board? Would you, yeah, do you have a presentation? Yes. Please.
My name is Bill Hine from 200 Deborah Lane, Cameo North Annex. And I just like to give you a little overview about the Crossroads TIF. The Crossroads TIF was started out in 1977, and it was redone in, I believe, 1984, and it went from a 23-year TIF to a 33-year TIF. Cameo North Annex is a complex that's been there since the early 60s, and they are, all the residents here are over 55 and older, with the average age over there about 73 and a half years of age. Most of the people that live here are on a fixed income and have been living there for quite a long time. And they've been contributing to this TIF for 33 years. As you can see, we're located in the heart of Wheeling on Restaurant Row, just behind the Walgreens, so on and so forth. And I just want to show you some of the things that this group of people have done over the years to make this a livable place for seniors that are 55 and older. By the way, this was the first 55 and older community in the village of Wheeling. I'm just going to leave that up there for a little bit because I got some notes that correspond to this. The residents of the Cameo have been on a capital improvement program for the last 8 years, and they take care of their property. In doing so, they have spent over $300,000 and some for different things that they've done in their community. And they haven't asked for a dime from anybody. They put on 2 new roofs. One went bad. A bad roofing guy took them to the cleaners. The second roof guy came in and declared bankruptcy. And so they've had to go along and repair these things with and carry a burden. Just last year, they put in a brand new parking lot. Didn't ask you for a dime. New lighting, new storm sewers, new interior flood control, updated the elevator, redecorated all 3 floors. So you can see that they're not here looking for a handout. What they're looking for is help, because it cannot be done without some TIF assistance. And that's what TIF is all about. TIF is taking an area, and we qualify for TIF. It's not like you're giving us some money that we are going to get from somebody else. We put the money into this TIF for 33 years. It's not going to generate a new increment. It's not going to put new sales tax and more money into your pocket. But what it's going to do is it's going to help these residents put their building into compliance. These balconies are deteriorated to a point where they need major construction. This is a major construction job. It's over $250,000. And that's the base price. These balconies are causing so many problems over there. They're attached to the living room floor. It's a 1-pour concrete. That's what they used to do back in the 60s. It's causing leaks throughout the building. This is just a typical example. Let me work this thing here a little bit. This is after we got into looking at the balconies, and you know, we take care of our balconies, we paint them and everything else, but this is an inside structural damage that's being done to these balconies. It couldn't be seen from the outside, and all of a sudden, we started seeing holes pop up, just like the one right underneath the second floor here. And at the top of this whole roof up here is deteriorating. This channel up here is called a C channel. It's a steel channel. It's breaking away. It's rusting from the inside. It's got to be completely dismantled, and it's got to be taken down to bare bones. You're not talking about putting paint on a building. You're talking about a construction job that has to be done. Look at the size of that hole. In order to repair that, this C channel has to be opened up, and they'll have to come from the top and put rebar in there and attach it to the C channel here and take it all the way to this wall and bolt it to the inside, then pour concrete. Without that, we're going to have to seal up these doors. They can't walk out there. This is a serious situation. There are 51 units in Cameo. A few years ago, we were in the floodplain. We did some homework and we got ourselves out of the floodplain. We had people up on the third floor paying flood insurance, $1,000 a year. And we did that on our own with the help of the Village of Wheeling and one of your engineers who was a great guy. But you can see the damage. You can see that these balconies here are illegal at the present time. They are no longer made that way. They're too wide in here. So we have to take these down and put new ones up. Can you imagine this? We're not talking about putting a ladder up here. We're talking about scaffolding the entire building. And then the whole building has to be sealed off because of all the chemicals and all the grinding they're going to be doing. They have to take the patio doors and they have to be sealed with plywood. But this is what we hope it's going to look like when we get done. And as you can see, we put ventilators in there. We put the least expensive iron up. Here's the floors when it's done. Right now, what's happening is this whole C channel is breaking away. All of this caulking and everything has to be replaced because what's happening is the water is going onto this balcony and it's opening up the channels underneath the patio doors and such and dripping down from the third floor all the way down to the first floor. We got leaks in some of the units. We have one unit where the living room ceiling is starting to break and separate because the C channel in the corner is breaking loose. That's why we're here. And I know you're not going to get an increment out of this one. But what you're going to do is you're going to have a very serious problem here that we can't cope with. If we had the money, we wouldn't be here asking you for it. I understand there's about $200,000 left in that TIF. This is the last year for the TIF. It ends this year. There's $200,000 in uncommitted funds, and I'm asking for that $200,000. We can put money into it. We got a capital improvement account. I'm sorry, but we only got about $80,000 into it. because we've been doing all the other stuff I talked about. Last year, we paid $60-some thousand for a parking lot. We can scrape up between $35,000 and $45,000 to put into the project. Otherwise, what we're going to have to do is start taking some of these balconies and sealing them up. These people won't be able to go outside, and by the way, in our balconies, not like you see here, but in our balconies, and let me go back to that. I don't know how I do that. But on our balconies, the patio door is the only door or window that's in the living room. So when we seal that up, it's going to be totally dark in that unit. I know that TIF money has been used for in your facade program, and you've given $50,000 for signs and other parking lots and everything. I'm not asking you for that. I'm asking you to give us help and to keep this building in shape. And it really needs it. This is something that we have to do. And we're going to have to find out a way to do it. And it's allowable in your TIF. It's under the conservation portion of your TIF. It qualifies. I'm sorry you're not going to make any money off the deal, but you only got 1 year left, and you got $200,000 in there. You just sold 2 buildings tonight and got $400,000 for one at 115 and 119 South Milwaukee Avenue. That's in this TIF. Where's that money going? Is that going into the TIF? Or is it going to the general fund?
Goes to the TIF.
It's going into TIF? Okay. You sold a building at North Wolf Road. I believe that's also in the TIF.
It's not a TIF. It's not a TIF project. That was purchased with general funds. That was not a TIF.
Okay, thank you.
Can we stay on the topic? I think those last two comments has nothing to do with what we're discussing right now.
I'm sorry?
The last two comments you made have nothing to do with the topic we're discussing right now.
It does have to do with it, I think, Trustee, because of the fact that it goes into the TIF fund.
It's not really relevant to the...
It's not relevant.
Well, there's more money in the TIF fund.
Well, it's not really relevant to the project, though.
Well, I was speaking to Mr. Montesino a few weeks ago, and he said there was about $200,000 left in uncommitted. Maybe it's less, maybe it's more, I don't know. I can't put an assessment, I can't put a special assessment on it. We got some folks that are really, really hurting. And they're on not only, I mean, they're talking about living on Social Security. And we haven't raised our assessment for that reason. And everything keeps going up, but I haven't raised the assessments over there. I've been the president over there for the last 6 or 7 years. And I'm asking for your help.
Question.
Go ahead.
Questions from the board? Left, right?
I have a question, just a discussion point. I mean,
Discussion point, just
I have to stay consistent with what I've recommended, but ultimately lost on with our record is, this is, to me, a facade grant issue. If we do anything, it would be a $50,000 facade grant. I just can't do TIFs when the I in the increment is not there. It's not right. We have the facade grant for this reason, to beautify things without increment. At least that's kind of my understanding of it. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's what I could go with. That's just my thoughts on it.
Thank you, Trustee Vito. Anyone else? Trustee Kruger?
Thank you, Mr. President. This may be a question for Andrew, and I don't know if you're going to have this off the top of your head, but when did the building code determine that those balcony railings were unsafe?
I do not know that off the top of my head. But I can look up and find it for you.
10 years?
I can look it up and find, I don't know. I'll have to look it up and find it for you.
And Mr. Hine, where did the pictures for the revised balconies? In your presentation?
Yes.
You had some revised, where did you take those? Where was those from?
That's the contractor that you see on the last page that's got the low bid of 267.
So that was his,
Yes,
okay.
yes. And so is the scaffolding and everything else.
That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kruger. If there are no other questions or statements, I need a motion to approve.
No.
No.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is just a consensus. Thank you.
So what, I'm sorry, I
sorry,
didn't
go
hear the
ahead.
consensus.
What?
I didn't hear the consensus.
I'm going to take it now.
Okay.
We're going to work on that. I'm going to start with you.
Here's the question.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. The question to the board is,
By the way, these are all the residents, half of the residents from the complex.
thank you. Does the board wish to provide TIF incentive for these repairs? That's the question. Thank you, Mr. Spondelis. So I'm going to start with you, Trustee Kruger. Do you wish to provide TIF incentives for the repairs?
I'm sorry, but I have to say no.
Trustee Vogel?
I have to say no also.
Trustee Papantos?
Sorry, no.
Trustee Vito?
Just to the extent of a facade grant.
You could come in, let's talk about that.
That would be a separate, we have
Right.
an application process for that.
Okay, that's actually what I was going to ask. Okay. I have to go along with the no, too, actually. I'm sorry.
You've got 1 year left on a tip with $200,000. I guess you need it more than we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Official communications. I'm very sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Clerk Simpson.
The 2018 gubernatorial election is Tuesday, November 6th. Mail ballot applications are now available at www.cookcountyclerk.com. If you do not have access to a computer, please call 847-499-9082 to request an application be mailed to you. October 9th is the last day to register to vote by paper application. October 10th is the first day of grace period, registration and voting. Contact the Cook County Clerk's Office for more information.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
I'm sorry.
What?
I don't, that's it.
Okay. So a couple weeks ago, according to Deborah Wilson, I was really only guilty of property tax fraud. That was 2 weeks ago, Monday. I really had never looked at the forms that she was talking about. Tuesday, I called the property tax assessor's office and a surveyor. By Wednesday, I had contacted someone to help with the legal definitions from the Department of Revenue's pamphlets on defining agricultural properties. I also started contacting people about the forms themselves, how they were supposed to be filled out. So by this point, I've personally been in contact with 2 different people from the property tax assessor's office relative to the form that I actually don't fill out. One surveyor to come and sort things out. Our property is actually assessed every 3 years, just like everybody else's properties. Since our annexations, our businesses that are all considered legal nonconforming have continuously had property licenses or business licenses. And right now I'm working with the county and other people to make sure that the parcels are and have and always will be properly assessed. So by this point, there are at least 3 people at the assessor's office who are looking at this. So relative to, would I look into this or should I look into this, I already have. And just out of curiosity, Mr. Ferrolo, am I required to report on my father's property tax goings on?
Are you required to report to who?
Here.
No, it's not. If it's your father filling out the form, you aren't required. But if you have some ownership interest.
That's a
and
trust.
some-
Anyway,
some,
so there's
you
at
know,
least three
I
people
would
at the
say-
assessor's office
Correct.
who are looking into this, as well as other people who understand the Department of Revenue definitions of all that stuff. Thank you. You had your 5 minutes. Any other comments? Thank you. If that's all, we do have the bills for August 2nd through August 15th. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, trustee Vogel, second, trustee Papantos. Roll call.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, that concludes our business for the evening. I would like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, trustee Vito, second, I'll give it to trustee Kruger. Thank you all for coming and sharing your time. Good night.
Aye.